The CEO of the company that makes Claude just told the world that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs inside 5 years. Then the man who runs Claude Code, the tool that writes software, just says the job title software engineer is going extinct by the end of 2026. Plus, in this week, Mark Andreessen, one of the most powerful venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, went on the Joe Rogan show and casually described a future where programmers oversee an org chart of bots numbering in the thousands with no human coding. And the cherry on top, he listed all the reasons bots are better than humans. They never get sick, they never come to work tired or with a hangover. They never file HR complaints. And while you've been arguing about whether any of this is hype, two of the biggest AI companies in the world quietly launched deployment organizations, not products, deployment companies. Their job is to walk into companies, study the workflows, and rebuild those workflows around AI. This is no longer about whether AI is coming for your job. It's about who's in the room when the decisions get made. And right now, my friend, you're not in that room. Welcome to Future Ready with Bryce Sparrows. I'm Bryce. Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 8. The AI deployment has started. When the people building AI tell you to run, you stop arguing and start moving. If you don't know me, here's what you should know. I spent over a decade in HR leadership roles at major global tech organizations. I personally handed termination letters to over 2,700 people. Across those 2,700 conversations, I saw the same pattern every single time. The people who were most devastated were not the least talented. They were the ones who had stopped learning. That experience changed me. I went from being the person who ended careers to the person who helps you save your job and architect your future career. Today, as the future readiness architect, I help professionals globally to future-proof their career against AI disruption. As a career coach, I realized that I would end up helping more people by focusing on this instead of helping people find jobs. What jobs can I train people to get if they don't exist anymore? As this year moves forward, I keep saying that this episode is probably the most important one yet. But I say that to every new episode because the changes that are happening, they're happening so fast, and the most recent changes are always bigger than the one before. So let me say it again. Please listen to this whole episode, as it is one of the most important conversations I've had on this podcast. Why? Because 3 things just happened that almost no one is connecting. Once you connect them, you'll understand exactly what's coming and what to do about it. By the way, if you are in HR, finance, procurement, logistics, customer services, banking, and coding, there are practical things you can do at the end of this episode to help you get through these crazy changes that are coming. Part 1, the CEO of Claude just said the quiet part out loud. Let's start with the warnings, but not the warnings from career coaches or LinkedIn pundits. Let's start with the warning from the people who are building the technology. Dario Amodei is the CEO of Anthropic. Anthropic is the company that makes Claude one of the 3 most capable AI models on the planet. In January, he published a 20,000-word essay warning that AI is going to cause what he called unusually painful disruption to jobs. He said AI is not just replacing a single job. He called it a general labor substitute for humans. Run that in your head again, because that's not me just saying it. That's not some doomer pundit. That's the CEO of one of the companies building this thing. Last year, he told Axios that AI could eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years, and that unemployment in the US could spike between 10 and 20%. His words, not mine. Most people, he said, are unaware that this is about to happen. They just don't believe it. He said the producers of this technology have a duty to be honest about what's coming. Dario is actually one of the few CEOs in this space that you should listen to. Then in February of this year, his head of Cloud Code, Boris Cherny, the guy who built the AI tool that writes software, got on a podcast and said the job title, software engineer, is starting to go away. And by the end of 2026, it'll be extinct. So according to him, the job software engineer will not exist anymore. Instead, he claims a new word or new job will pop up called builder, which will arise. And it's going to be painful for a lot of people. He also claims that he hasn't manually edited a line of code since November 2025. And Dario himself has confirmed that more than 90% of all the new code being written at Anthropic, the code building Claude itself, is now written by AI agents, not by humans. AI agents building themselves. In fact, Mark Anderson also stated that senior coders are not sleeping at nights at some places because they are excited that they have AI agents working on projects non-stop and they do not need a break. So these agents are keeping the coders up at night because the results of their ideas that are being developed by these agents are done so quickly in such quick turnaround times that they need to be up to provide additional instructions for the agents to move forward. Stop and think about that, my friends. So, as pointed out above, the company that builds the AI is using the AI to build itself. The humans have now become reviewers and architects. The mechanical work of typing code is gone. This isn't a forecast. This is the ground reality at this point in time. Part 2. The boosters just agreed on the Rogan show, no less. Let me just take you to the other side of the table, the opposite end, which is the booster camp. The people who fund these AI revolutions, the ones who say don't get worried. However, Mark Anderson sat down with Joe Rogan this week. If you don't know who Mark Anderson is, here's the short version. He co-built Mosaic, the first widely used web browser for those people who remember it. He also co-founded Netscape. He's a co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz, one of the biggest, most powerful venture capitalist firms on the planet. They write the checks for the AI startups. He's a billionaire. Unlike very recently, he was on record everywhere saying AI job loss stories were fake news and the AI wave could create massive job booms. Then the cameras turned on at the Rogan studio and the mask slipped. He told Rogan that the programmers of the future would be overseeing an org chart of bots, not a team, not a couple of engineers or 3 product managers to boot. An organization chart of bots numbering in the thousands. 1 human at the top and thousands of AI agents underneath. Then he started listing why the bots are better than humans. The bots never get sick. The bots never get drunk. Rogan jumped in and said they never get depressed either because their girlfriend broke up with them. And Anderson capped it off with this line. They never file HR complaints. Now listen to that carefully. I sat on the corporate HR side of the table for over 2 decades. I know exactly what never files HR complaints mean to senior management. It means no compliance risk, no discrimination lawsuits, no whistleblowing, no having to actually manage your own toxic culture. It's not just about productivity. It's about freedom from accountability. And then Anderson said the quiet part. He said this mass adoption of armies of AI workers could start in coding, then expand into writing, then into medicine, and then into law. In the same week, 2 camps. Dario Mode from the safety side saying unusually painful, half of entry-level jobs gone. And then Mark Anderson on the booster side saying we're replacing humans with armies of bots because humans are inferior. And we're starting with coding, then moving to medicine, and then to law. When the safety guy and the booster guy stop arguing with each other and start agreeing on what's actually happening to your job, the argument is over and we need to take notice. And by the way, Anderson also said something else. He stated that companies are 75% overstaffed and that AI is just the silver bullet excuse to clean house. That's his actual view, which means that every 3 out of 4 people sitting in an office right now are, in his view, redundant. That's the corporate shelf game I've been telling you about. Last month, AI job loss is fake. This month, on the biggest podcast in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience, it was said that bots are better than humans because they don't unionize. The story changes depending on the audience. However, the plan doesn't. Part 3, the deployment. And here's the third story, the one that ties it all together. The one almost nobody is connecting. In the first 2 weeks of May 2026, 2 of the biggest AI companies on the planet launched something new. Not a new model, not new chatbots, new deployment organizations. On May 4th, Anthropic announced a new enterprise AI service firm in partnership with Blackstone, Hellman & Friedman, and Goldman Sachs. $1.5 billion is committed capital. It's also backed by Apollo, Sequoia, General Atlantic, GIC, and Let It Green. The goal is simple: embed engineers directly inside companies, community banks, regional health systems, and manufacturers. Just walk in, redesign workflows around Claude, and stay until it's running. A week later, on May 11th, OpenAI launched the OpenAI Deployment Company. $4 billion of initial investment from 19 firms led by TPG, Advent, Bain Capital, and Brooksfield. They simultaneously acquired a UK-based firm called Tomorrow and got 150 forward deployed engineers overnight. These engineers don't write apps for you to buy. They sit inside your company, identify where AI can replace what humans currently do, and rebuild your operation around the model. This is what the people building the technology don't want most workers to understand. The product's era is over. The deployment era has now begun. It is very simple. They just need to show the CEO and CFO immense cost savings, and this becomes a business case. Up until now, AI was just a thing you logged into. ChatGPT was a browser tab, Claude in a window, a subscription, a high-tech kid's toy, something that the IT department played with on the side in their free time. Not anymore. Now, they're engineers who are funded by some of the top financial and venture capital firms like Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, and Bain, whose job is to walk into your CFO's office, look at the org chart, tell him or her how they can do so much by revising your workflow to be handled by AI that takes no breaks, works overnight, doesn't get sick, or take vacations. That's what they're telling your CFO. And in return, he or she will ask one question: how many of these jobs do we still need? This is not science fiction anymore. I'm not making this thing up, and neither am I trying to be a fearmonger and cry wolf. Take one of the investing companies of Anthropic. Goldman Sachs has already spent 6 months working with embedded Anthropic engineers to build what they call a digital coworker. These are AI agents that handle accounting, transactions, reconciliations, client onboarding, and vetting. Accenture and Anthropic just announced that they are training 30,000 Accenture consultants on Claude Code. They are already putting their money where their mouth is and testing this environment in their partner organizations. McKinsey, Deloitte, and Bain, the consulting firms that used to charge you millions to redesign your operations, are about to be undercut by AI native deployment firms that charge a fraction of their cost and ship faster. It has now become a numbers game. Are you with me? 3 stories. One CEO warning that white-collar jobs will be gutted. One billionaire booster bragging about replacing humans with bots. And last but not least, 2 deployment organizations that are funded by huge organizations have just launched with engineers walking into companies right now. Anyone can see it and connect those dots. My friend, the picture is obvious. The argument is over. The deployment has started, and there is nothing that we can do to stop it. To be honest, I've seen this pattern before, not at this scale, not at this speed, but the pattern is the same. In the 2000s, when I was sitting on the corporate side of the table at major global tech organizations, mergers and acquisitions were happening left, right, and center. Every multinational came with what the corporate world calls synergies. That word, synergies, is corporate code for we're eliminating duplicate roles or finding ways to just automate the process. I delivered 2,700 of those letters personally by hand. I started counting after a senior executive, a man who had given decades of his life to the organization, broke down and started crying. This all happened in front of me while I gave him the news. Here's what I noticed across those 2,700 conversations. The people who got hit the hardest weren't the people with the least talent. They were the people who had stopped learning. They were experts in a version of the world that no longer existed. They had become knowers in a world that had shifted to favor learners. Unfortunately, it's happening again, right now, just on a very different scale. It is much bigger than I have encountered in my life. The mergers and synergies of the 2000s eliminated tens of thousands of jobs at a time. What I am scared of is the AI deployment. Being done at the scale will eliminate millions of jobs, and the people who will get hit the hardest will be the same ones I sat across from 20 years ago. Smart, capable, hardworking people, but knowers. Experts in workflows that AI is about to rebuild. You see, I walked away from that corporate work because I refused to do another round of layoffs. I started this mission because I wanted to be the person those 2,700 people didn't have in their corner. That's why I'm telling you this, not to panic you, but to prepare you. Part 4. Who gets hit first? So, who's in the line of fire? If you're an HR professional, by now you should have already felt the wind shift. Resume screening, candidate scoring, onboarding workflows, exit interviews, compliance documentation. All of this is being automated right now. You know it, you're seeing it. The very tools I sat in the room negotiating to buy 15 years ago are now being replaced by AI agents that can do the whole damn pipeline. And remember what Anderson said, bots don't file HR complaints. You need to read between the lines, my friend. He's not just talking about replacing the people who file the complaints. He's also talking about replacing the people who handle them too. If you're in finance, accounts payable, accounts receivable, audit support, financial reporting, and transaction reconciliations, Goldman Sachs is already using Claude-based agents to do this work today. We're not talking about the future or the near future. We're talking about what is happening right now. It doesn't get scarier than this. The forward deployed engineers from these new deployment firms are walking into mid-sized banks and replicating the playbook this quarter. If you're in procurement, contract reviews, vendor management, RFP evaluations, supplier onboarding, all of that is being handed off to AI. The reason is simple. It's repetitive work, it's rule-based, and it's structured. It's exactly the kind of work that AI can do very easily. If you're in marketing operations, customer support, paralegal work, junior analyst roles in consulting, junior accounting roles, claims processing, and insurance underwriting, your role is being studied by forward deployed engineers somewhere right now. And if you are a coder, a software engineer, a developer, a data engineer, please understand what these people just told you. The head of Claude Code just said the job title is going extinct. Mark Anderson said one programmer in the future will manage thousands of bots. In the old days, we saw minor changes and called them productivity improvements. This is different. This is workforce restructuring. I'm not saying this because I want to scare everyone. On the contrary, I'm looking for ways that you can survive these changes that are coming. Unfortunately, the data backs all that is happening around us. A study from MIT in late 2025 found that AI can already do the work of 11.7% of the US labor market. That is $1.2 trillion in wages across finance, healthcare, and professional services. In addition, Mercer's Global Talent Trends of 2026 reported surveying 12,000 workers globally. 40% now fear losing their jobs to AI. 2 years ago, that number was only 28%. That number is growing month over month. Big tech hiring of new graduates has dropped roughly 50% from pre-pandemic levels, partly because of AI. So much so now graduating classes are booing famous speakers that come to their convocations, especially when these people talk about AI. I'm sure you've seen hundreds of videos concerning this. Now, the reason for all of this is because these new grads are not finding jobs in the market because AI has taken those jobs away. In 2025 alone, AI was cited as the reason for nearly 55,000 US layoffs. None of this is hypothetical. The craziness has started. The only question is whether you're going to be ready when this hits your industry. Part 5, the 4-pillar rapid response blueprint. So what can you actually do about all of this? This is what you need to do this week. I want you to run through my 4-pillar rapid response blueprint. The framework works whether you're a coder, an HR director, a procurement manager, a financial analyst, or anything in between. The specifics of your role may change, but the structure doesn't. Pillar number 1, the cognitive audit. I also call this the 3-column exercise. So open out a blank document or take a paper and make 3 columns. Column number 1 is the official requirements of your job. You can pull these out from your job description, your last performance review, or even from the contract that you signed. Column 2 is what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. Now, I need you to be honest. Most people find that what they actually do is dramatically different from what their job description actually says. Sometimes they do things that they think is important, but actually isn't. So let's come to column 3. So what do you put in column 3? So in column 3, you are going to put the things that were in column 2 that could be described by you to a machine well enough that that machine could do it easily. Now, most professionals doing this exercise honestly find that 40 to 60% of their daily work is mechanical. It's repetitive and it's pattern-based. And that's the work AI is replacing first. So your strategic move is to shift your time away from column 2, which is the mechanical work, and move towards column 1. That is the outcomes that require judgment, relationships, and creativity. And in addition to this, you will also need to review and judge the work that AI will be spitting out. Both these areas is what you will need to focus on. Pillar number 2, pro-grade immersion. Stop evaluating AI from the free tier. Stop using the free version of ChatGPT. Also, stop using it once a week to write LinkedIn posts. That's not professional usage. In my view, that's just tourism. If you're serious about this, and you need to be, invest $20 a month in a frontier model. That could be ChatGPT Plus, Claude Pro, or Gemini Pro. Pick one and use it like a professional tool every single working day for at least 1 hour. Don't use it to write your emails. Use it to think, to draft, to analyze, and to pressure test your ideas. Most importantly, learn how to talk to it so it works for you. The people who will be safe are the people who put in these hours that I'm talking about with the frontier model AIs. $20 for the month, that's all I'm saying. It's probably a week's worth of coffee depending on which place you have coffee at. Pillar number 3, workflow synthesis. Do not treat AI as a separate activity next to your real work. That is a beginner's mistake. The objective is to integrate AI into your actual daily workflow. How you research, how you prepare for meetings, how you draft documents, how you analyze data, how you communicate. If you're an HR professional, integrate AI into how you screen candidates and prep interview questions. If you're in finance, integrate it into how you analyze reports and build forecasts. If you're in marketing, integrate it into your campaign briefs and content calendars. The point is not the tool. It can be any frontier AI model. The main point is that you incorporate it into your workflow. When AI is woven through your daily work, you don't get replaced by AI. You become the person who knows how to deploy AI. That's the difference between the deployed on and the deployer. Pillar number 4. Relationship building. What works now is deliberate relationship building before you need anything from anyone. Pick 5 people this week. People senior to you, people lateral to you, people in adjacent industries. Send them a real message, not a copy paste or a sales pitch. A genuine point of connection. Ask one good question from them. Offer one piece of value. Ask them what is keeping them up at night and see if you can help them solve their issue. If they are willing to take your point of view, great. Do that every week for the next 12 months and your network will look completely different. And when AI deployment hits your company, the people who land on their feet are the ones with strong networks built before the chaos comes. I've seen this play out every time we downsized. Networking works. That's the universal blueprint. Now, let me get specific. I'm going to close with each function in mind. Please listen to my recommendations carefully. If you write software for a living, if you're a software engineer listening to this, I want to talk to you for a minute. The head of Claude Code is not your enemy. Mark Anderson is not your enemy. They're telling you the truth, even when they're telling it in a way that sounds cold. The job title is changing. The work is changing. The mechanical typing of syntax, that's gone. But here's what's not done. Architecture, judgment, knowing what to build, knowing what not to build. Most importantly, understanding business context. The need to translate ambiguous requirements into clear outcomes, owning a problem from idea to deployment. And if Anderson is right, that one programmer of the future will oversee thousands of bots, then the question isn't whether you'll have a job. The question is, are you the one human or are you one of the bots that will be replaced? So here's what you need to do this quarter. Number 1, stop being a code monkey. Move up the value chain. If you're still describing yourself as a senior developer who builds features, you're already obsolete. Reposition yourself as a builder, a systems thinker, a problem owner. The word builder is the language the head of Claude Code used. That's the language you need to adapt in your resume, especially on your LinkedIn profile, on your LinkedIn headline, in your conversations. Number 2, become fluent in AI-assisted deployment, not casual, fluent Claude Code, Cursor, GitHub Copilot, Replit agent. Pick one and master it. Ship 20 things a day, not 2. Your productivity benchmark just got rewritten. You need to rewrite yours with it. Number 3, learn the business side. The coders who survive are the ones who can talk to a CFO about ROI, sit with a head of product about strategy, and translate that conversation into shipped systems. The people who can only talk in syntax are the people who will get replaced first. Number 4, get close to deployment. The action is no longer in writing apps for different users. The action is in walking into a business and rebuilding workflows. If you can do that within your organization today, if you can be the person who designs and ships AI deployments inside a company, your salary is going up and very up. You are not extinct, my friend. As for the rest, now if you're in HR, finance, procurement, operations, marketing ops, customer support, paralegal work, anything in the path of deployed, this is for you. Number one, become the deployment partner, not the deployed on. When the AI engineers from one of these new deployment firms walk into your company, there will be two kinds of people in the room. The people who get studied as a problem to be solved, and the people who help architect that solution. You want to be in the second group. That means raising your hand for the AI integration project, joining the steering committee, volunteering to pilot the tool in your function, not waiting to find out what was decided about you. Number two, move towards judgment work. Inside every function, whether it's HR, finance, procurement, there is mechanical work that AI is replacing and judgment work that AI cannot. It cannot do the judgment part yet. In a previous episode, I uncovered how United Health and the goof-ups they made because they trusted AI with everything. AI needs human judgment, so you need to handle that part. In HR, mechanical work is screening resumes. Judgment work is coaching managers through a difficult performance appraisal. Anything that needs the human factor, focus on those. In finance, mechanical work is reconciling transactions. Judgment work is sitting with a business leader to challenge their forecast assumptions. In procurement, mechanical work is processing purchase orders. Judgment work is negotiating a strategic supplier relationship. Move towards the judgment. Use AI to handle the mechanical while you play the human side, things that it cannot do. Number three, pick one AI tool relevant to your function and learn it cold. If you're in HR, learn how to build screening workflows in Claude or ChatGPT. If you're in finance, learn what Microsoft Copilot can do inside Excel and Power BI. Learn how to pull a forecast in 30 minutes, something that took 3 days to do before. If you're in procurement, learn how AI agents are doing contract review and vendor analysis. You don't need to be a coder. You need to be operationally fluent. Number four, document your judgment. Write down the calls you made that AI can't make, the relationships you maintain that AI can't maintain, the institutional knowledge you carry that doesn't exist in a database. This is your safety net. And in your next performance conversation, in your next interview, in your next networking conversation, that's the story that you will tell. You're not getting replaced by AI. You are getting replaced by people who use AI. Remember that. That is the key to survival for the next 3 to 5 years. Stay on the right side of it. Here's the bottom line, my friend. The deployment has started. The funding is in place. The engineers are being hired. The contracts are being signed. The CEO of Claude is telling you the truth. The head of Claude Code is telling you the truth. And now, even Mark Anderson, the man who builds his entire public brand on AI optimism, sat across from Joe Rogan and bragged about replacing humans with armies of bots. They have no incentive to lie to you. They make money either way. They're just being honest about what's coming. What you do now matters more than what you did 10 years back. The half-life of skills is 5 years, and how things are going, I'm even questioning the 5-year time frame. In tech, this number is less and growing smaller month by month. You will pivot, you will reinvent. The only question is whether you reinvent ahead of the wave or you get crushed by it. Run the 4-pillar rapid response blueprint this week. If you're a coder, move up the value chain and learn to deploy not just code. In HR, finance, procurement, or operations, become the deployment partner, not the deployed on. You have the runway, you have the warning. The deployment firms are walking into your companies right now. Use the runway and take off. Once again, this is a humble request to all of you. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe, like, and follow. Tell your friends and others what my team and I are trying to do. We are trying to save jobs in a turbulent world which is getting chaotic as time passes by. We are doing a free assessment of your job and how safe you are. You can contact us on brycebarrows.com. Look for the set appointment section and book a 15 to 30-minute free audit of your role. If you're old school, you can mail me on me@brycebarrows.com and we can set up a one-on-one call from there. Please don't wait until it's too late. Take action today. I am Bryce Barrows, your future readiness architect. Remember, the future belongs to those who are ready. Go be unstoppable. Thank you.